The silence of deep space suited Commander Thorn Blackwood just fine. 6 years of self-imposed exile had taught him to appreciate the quiet hum of ship systems and the cold comfort of solitude. At 53, his weathered face told stories of battles won and lost, while the permanent furrow between his brows warned others to keep their distance. Proximity alert, Commander, announced the ship's AI. Derelict vessel detected at coordinates 34 to 7792. Thorn grunted, setting aside his whiskey. Identification: Veltraxian merchant vessel. Sunspire class. Life support systems failing. Distress beacon active. He considered ignoring it. Salvage wasn't his business anymore, not since the incident at Proxima Colony. But old habits died hard, and the Alliance protocols were ingrained deeper than his bitterness. "Plot intercept course," he ordered, strapping himself into the pilot's chair, "and run full defensive scans. Could be a trap." The Drifter, his modified Terran corvette, adjusted course with practiced ease. Thorn watched the view screen as the derelict came into view. A once elegant vessel now scared by energy weapon impacts. Familiar patterns of destruction. The work of scavenger syndicate pirates, without doubt. No hostile vessels within sensor range, the AI reported. Detecting minimal power signatures aboard the target vessel. Thorn checked his sidearm before donning his exosuit. Maintain position. I'll investigate alone. The docking procedure was textbook, and soon Thorn crossed the airlock threshold into the dying ship. Emergency lighting bathed the corridor in crimson, casting long shadows across the deck. The air recyclers labored noisily, a death rattle counting down the vessel's final hours. His flashlight beam caught splashes of violet fluid on the bulkheads. Veltraxian blood. He'd seen enough of it during the border wars to recognize it instantly. "Hello," he called, weapon raised. "Alliance emergency response. Any survivors?" Only the creaking of stressed metal answered him. Thorn advanced cautiously, following the trail of destruction toward the bridge. 2 bodies lay sprawled near the navigation console. Adult Veltraxians, their silver-scaled skin dulled in death. The female still clutched a small energy weapon, having died defending her mate. Thorn bent to close their eyes, 4 on each face, a gesture of respect for fallen warriors. As he straightened, a soft scrape of movement froze him in place. "Show yourself," he commanded, aiming his weapon toward the sound. A panel beneath the communications array shifted, and 2 pairs of luminous golden eyes peered out from the darkness. Children, Veltraxian younglings, no more than the equivalent of 12 and 7 Earth years. The older one hissed defensively, pushing the smaller one behind them. "Stay back, human," the older child warned in halting standard, brandishing a maintenance tool like a weapon. "We fight." Thorn lowered his gun immediately. "I'm not here to hurt you." Commander Thorn Blackwood, Alliance emergency response. The child's face, delicate silver scales framed by tendrils that served as hair, contorted with suspicion. Alliance left. No help came. "I'm here now," Thorn replied, holstering his weapon. "Those your parents?" The younger child whimpered, silver-scaled face streaked with tears that glittered like diamonds in the emergency lighting. The older one merely nodded, stance still defensive. "Pirates?" Thorn asked. "Scavengers," the child confirmed. "They wanted Father's navigation charts. Secret routes." Thorn nodded grimly. The Syndicate was always hunting for shortcuts through the dangerous Hollow Nebula. "What's your name, kid?" "Vesa," the older child replied reluctantly. "This is my brother, Krell." Thorn ran a hand through his gray-streaked hair, conscious of time ticking away. "Your life support is failing. Ship's dying. You need to come with me." "No." Vesa's translucent inner eyelids flashed with fear. "Humans take Veltraxian children, sell to laboratories." Old rumors from the war, Thorn realized. Propaganda that had outlived the conflict itself. "Not this human," he said firmly. But stay here if you want. Ship's got maybe 6 hours before systems fail completely. He turned to leave, counting silently. 3 steps later, Vessa's voice rang out. Wait. We come. But if you trick, I kill you in sleep. Thorn almost smiled at the fierce declaration. Fair enough. Within an hour, the children were aboard the drifter, huddled together in his sparse living quarters, while Thorn piloted them away from the derelict. He'd allowed them to bring a small crate of possessions, mementos of their parents and their lost life. Where are you taking us? Vessa demanded, one arm protectively around her brother. Nearest Alliance outpost is at Beacon Station, Thorn replied, setting the autopilot. They'll contact your homeworld, find your relatives. No relatives. Krell spoke for the first time, his voice soft and musical. All died in great sickness. Thorn frowned. The Veltraxian plague had decimated their population 5 years ago, but he hadn't realized how widespread the devastation had been. Then the Alliance will place you with appropriate guardians. They'll separate us, Vessa said, tendrils flattening against her head in distress. Veltraxian custom. Stronger families take stronger children. And you won't let that happen, Thorn guessed, recognizing the protective fire in those alien eyes. It reminded him painfully of his own sister, lost decades ago in the colonies. Never, Vessa confirmed fiercely. Thorn sighed heavily. This was exactly why he worked alone now. Complications, emotions, responsibilities he didn't want. Get some rest, he ordered gruffly. It's 2 days to Beacon Station. That night, as the children slept fitfully in his quarters, while Thorn bunked in the pilot's seat, the emergency comm system blared to life. Attention unidentified vessel, came a harsh voice. This is Captain Jarek of the patrol ship Vigilance. Our sensors detect you've departed from a registered incident zone. Prepare for boarding and inspection. Thorn cursed under his breath. The Vigilance wasn't Alliance. It was a mercenary vessel known for working with the scavengers. They were tracking survivors. Vigilance, this is Commander Blackwood, he responded, quickly encrypting his transmission. I'm on official Alliance business. No boarding necessary. We have orders to inspect all vessels leaving the sector, Jarek insisted. Power down engines and prepare for boarding. Thorn's mind raced. His cover as Alliance emergency response wouldn't hold under scrutiny, and if they discovered the Veltraxian children. Acknowledged. Vigilance, he stalled. Powering down now. Request 10 minutes to secure containment fields. Without waiting for a response, Thorn rushed to wake the children. We have trouble, he told the instantly alert Vessa. Hostile ship approaching. They can't find you here. They're looking for us, Vessa realized, quickly gathering her still drowsy brother. For father's charts. Thorn nodded, leading them to a hidden compartment behind his cargo hold, a smuggler's hole from the ship's previous owner that he'd never removed. Get in and stay silent, he instructed, no matter what you hear. As he sealed them inside, Krell grabbed his sleeve with delicate silver fingers. You won't give us to bad humans. Something twisted in Thorn's chest, an emotion he'd thought long dead. No, kid, I won't. Minutes later, he faced the boarding party in his airlock. 4 armed men led by a scared human with cold eyes. Commander Blackwood, the leader, sneered. Long way from Alliance space. Captain Jarek, Thorn acknowledged coolly. Still playing dress-up in that stolen uniform. Jarek's expression darkened. We know the Veltraxians had children aboard. Where are they? No survivors, Thorn replied evenly. Check my logs if you don't believe me. Oh, we will, Jarek promised. Search the ship. Every compartment. For the next hour, Thorn watched with forced casualness as they tore through his vessel, his hand never far from his concealed weapon. If they found the children, he'd have no choice but to fight. A battle he couldn't win against these odds. When they finally departed empty-handed, Thorn waited a full 30 minutes before retrieving the children from their hiding place. Vessa emerged first, eyes scanning for threats while Krell trembled behind her. "You protected us," Vesa said, studying Thorn with new eyes. "Why?" The question caught him off guard. Why indeed? His life would be simpler without these complications. "Get some sleep," he said instead of answering. "We're changing course. Beacon Station isn't safe anymore." That night, as the children finally slept and the drifter slipped silently through the void toward an uncertain destination, Thorn studied the star charts with a troubled expression. Every Alliance outpost would be watching for them now. The children needed somewhere safe, somewhere beyond the reach of the scavengers. They needed a home, and Thorn Blackwood, who had sworn never to be responsible for another life again, found himself plotting a course to the one place he'd vowed never to return, the remote mining colony where he'd once had a life, a purpose, and people who had called him family. Morning aboard, the drifter arrived with artificial precision, lights gradually brightening to simulate dawn. Thorn found Vesa already awake, her slender fingers exploring the ship's navigation console with cautious curiosity. She jerked back when she noticed him watching. "I not touch controls," she said defensively. "Only looking." Thorn grunted, pouring himself a synthetic coffee. "You understand nav systems." Vesa's tendrils rippled, the Veltraxian equivalent of a shrug. "Father taught. Said stars are freedom, if you know paths between." "Your father was right," Thorn said, studying the girl more carefully. Veltraxians matured faster than humans, though equivalent to a 12-year-old in development. Her eyes held the sharp intelligence of someone much older. "You hungry?" Krell emerged from their makeshift sleeping area, rubbing his golden eyes. Unlike his sister's serious demeanor, the younger child moved with innocent curiosity, tendrils waving excitedly at the mention of food. "Human food safe for us?" Vesa questioned, ever vigilant. "Got protein synthesizers," Thorn replied, activating the galley unit, programmed for Veltraxian biochemistry during the border wars. "You fought against our people." Vesa's voice sharpened. "With them, not against," Thorn corrected, setting bowls of blue-tinged nutritional paste before them. "Served alongside General Zex, Var's 3rd Battalion." This revelation visibly surprised the children. Krell dipped his fingers into the paste, bringing them to his sensory nodes to smell before cautiously tasting. "It's like home breakfast," he exclaimed with unexpected delight. Something approaching a smile tugged at the corner of Thorn's mouth. "Eat up. Long journey ahead." As they ate, Thorn plotted their course on the main display, a winding path through lesser-used shipping lanes toward the Perseus arm. "Where we going?" Vesa asked, watching intently. "Not Alliance Station. Helios mining colony." Thorn answered reluctantly. "Independent settlement, beyond Alliance jurisdiction." "Your home?" Krell asked innocently. Thorn's expression hardened. "Was. Long time ago." "Why leave?" the boy persisted. "Krell," Vesa hissed in warning, sensing Thorn's discomfort. "It's fine," Thorn said, though his tone suggested otherwise. "Had responsibilities. Failed them. People died." He stood abruptly. "Need to check the engine coils." Hours later, as the children explored their limited quarters under strict instructions not to touch anything, the drifter's communication system chimed. Thorn answered warily, relaxing slightly at the familiar face that appeared on screen. "Thorn Blackwood, you miserable old hermit," said Lieutenant Nora Reeves, her weathered face cracking into a grin. 6 years of silence, and suddenly you're pinging my secure channel? "Hello, Nora," Thorn replied, still slumming with the Helios security detail. "Someone's got to keep these miners from killing each other over claim disputes," she countered. "What's so urgent you'd break your vow of solitude?" Thorn hesitated, then angled the camera to show the children. "Got a situation. Need sanctuary." Nora's eyes widened. "Veltraxian younglings, stars above." "Thorn, what have you gotten yourself into?" "Pirates hit their transport. Parents didn't make it." Now the scavenger syndicate is hunting them. Understanding dawned on Nora's face. The navigation charts rumor. Everyone thought it was just spacer talk. It's real, and these kids are in danger because of it. Nora rubbed her temples. Colonial Administrator Pierce won't like aliens showing up unannounced. Pierce still owe me for saving his mining operation from that radiation leak. You know he does, Nora sighed. Transmitting approach vectors now. Use the maintenance bays. Fewer eyes. Appreciate it, Nora. As the transmission ended, Thorne turned to find Vesa standing behind him, having heard everything. These charts so important? She asked quietly. Thorne nodded grimly. Your father found safe passages through the Hollow Nebula. That's a game-changer for trade and military operations. Worth killing for. Father hid real charts, Vesa revealed suddenly. What pirates took was fake. Thorne stared at her. What? The girl reached beneath her tunic, withdrawing a small crystalline device. Real charts here. Father gave to me when alarm sounded. Said protect with life. Thorne's mind raced through the implications. Does your brother know? No, Vesa admitted. Father said fewer know, safer all. Smart man. Thorne muttered, a new weight settling on his shoulders. Listen carefully, Vesa. Nobody can know you have this. Not until we reach Helios. The girl nodded solemnly, hiding the device again. I trust you, Commander Thorne. The word struck him unexpectedly hard. Trust. He didn't deserve it, hadn't earned it, didn't want the responsibility of it. Don't, he warned. I'm just your ride. 2 days later, the drifter approached Helios Colony, a sprawling complex carved into an asteroid rich with rare minerals. Once a lawless outpost, it had grown into a respectable independent colony under Administrator Pierce's leadership. Look, Krell. Vesa pointed excitedly at the view screen. Buildings inside rock. The boy pressed his face against the viewport, tendrils quivering with excitement. So many lights. Remember what I told you. Thorne instructed as they prepared for docking. Stay close. Don't speak to anyone. Let me handle everything. We be good, Krell promised solemnly. Nora met them at the maintenance bay airlock, her security uniform crisp despite the layer of mineral dust that coated everything on Helios. Her eyebrows rose at the sight of the children. Never thought I'd see you playing guardian, Thorne, she remarked. I'm not, he replied curtly. Just delivering them somewhere safe. Nora crouched to eye level with the children. Hello there, I'm Lieutenant Reeves. Vesa stepped protectively in front of Krell. You help us? That's the plan, Nora confirmed, rising. I've arranged temporary quarters in the residential sector. Pierce wants to see you immediately. Thorne. The colonists they passed in the corridors stared openly at the alien children. Helios rarely received non-human visitors. Krell shrank from the attention, clutching Thorne's hand instinctively. The unfamiliar weight of the small hand in his stirred memories Thorne had long suppressed, of another child who had once looked to him for protection. Administrator Pierce's office overlooked the central mining operation, a cavernous pit filled with machinery and workers. The man himself had aged since Thorne had last seen him, his once black hair now steel gray. Commander Blackwood. Pierce greeted formally. Didn't expect to see you darkening my doorstep again. Circumstances, Thorne replied simply. Pierce studied the Veltrexian children with undisguised curiosity. Quite the circumstances. Nora filled me in on the basics, but I need details before I risk my colony's safety. For the next hour, Thorne explained the situation, omitting only Vesa's revelation about the navigation charts. The fewer who knew, the better. Sanctuary is temporary, Pierce finally declared. 2 weeks. Then they go to proper authorities. 2 weeks is enough, Thorne agreed, ignoring the flash of hurt in Vesa's eyes. Appreciate it, Pierce. Don't thank me yet, the administrator warned. Word travels fast in space. If the syndicate suspects they're here. The unfinished sentence hung ominously in the air. Their quarters were modest but comfortable, a two-room apartment in the family section of the colony. That evening, as Thorne programmed the food synthesizer to produce something approximating Veltraxian cuisine, Vesa confronted him. "You leave us after 2 weeks," she demanded. Thorne didn't look up from the control panel. "You'll be safer with proper guardians." "We safest with you," Krell insisted, his usually cheerful face solemn. "No, kid, you're not." Thorne's voice hardened. "I'm not a guardian. Not a protector. Last family I was responsible for died because of my mistakes." "What happened?" Vesa asked softly. Thorne's hand stilled. 6 years of silence, and now this alien child expected him to unearth his deepest wound. Yet something in her golden eyes, understanding beyond her years, loosened his tongue. "Had a sister, Jenna. She settled on Proxima Colony with her husband and daughter. Pirates attacked." His voice grew distant. "I was commanding the defense fleet, made a tactical error. Response was delayed by 6 hours. By the time we arrived." He didn't need to finish. "The children understood death intimately. Not your fault," Krell said with childlike certainty, placing his small hand on Thorne's arm. "Bad humans did bad things. Command means responsibility," Thorne replied, but his voice lacked conviction. Later that night, with the children asleep in the adjoining room, Thorne sat drinking synthetic whiskey with Nora, catching up on 6 years of separation. "They're getting under your skin," she observed. "The Veltraxian kids." "Temporary problem," Thorne insisted. "Like hell," Nora snorted. "I know that look, Thorne. Same one you had with Jenna's girl." Thorne's glass hit the table harder than intended. "Don't. You've been punishing yourself long enough," Nora pressed. "Maybe." The conversation halted abruptly as the colony's alert system blared to life. "Attention all residents," Pierce's voice echoed through the communication system. "Unidentified vessel approaching. Security protocols activated. All civilians remain in quarters until further notice." Nora was immediately on her feet, checking her sidearm. "Could be coincidence. When is it ever?" Thorne moved to wake the children, only to find Vesa already alert, tendrils rigid with anxiety. "They found us," she whispered. The communication panel lit up with Nora's security clearance. "Thorne, it's a Syndicate interceptor. Registered to Drax Vartok." Thorne cursed. Drax Vartok was the Syndicate's most ruthless bounty hunter, infamous for always completing his contracts. "They're requesting emergency docking clearance," Nora continued. "Claiming engine failure. Pierce is stalling, but can't refuse without raising suspicion." "How long?" Thorne demanded. 30 minutes. Maybe less." Thorne's mind raced through options, each worse than the last. "Get back to your post. Act normal. I'll handle this." After she left, Thorne turned to find both children watching him intently. "We run again?" Vesa asked, already gathering their few possessions. "No," Thorne decided. "Running marks us as targets. We hide in plain sight." He studied their alien features thoughtfully. "But first, we need a disguise." An hour later, as Drax Vartok's heavily armed security team began their courtesy inspection of the colony, they passed a gruff miner leading 2 small figures wrapped in moisture preservation gear, standard protection for human children against the dry, mineral-laden air of the mining levels. "Respiratory conditions," Thorne explained gruffly to the suspicious guard. "Doctor says the mineral condensation helps their lungs." The guard grunted sympathetically. "My nephew's the same. Carry on." As they descended into the lower mining levels, areas typically off-limits to visitors, Thorne felt Krell trembling beside him. "Scared?" the boy whispered. "I know, kid," Thorne replied softly, "but I made a promise. Nobody's taking you without going through me first." And as they reached the abandoned emergency bunker where Nora had directed them, Thorne realized with startling clarity that he meant every word. Somewhere between the derelict ship and this moment, these alien children had become his responsibility, not out of duty or obligation, but something deeper, something he'd thought died with Jenna's family, something dangerously close to love.